Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. A couple of weeks ago, I did the stories behind my designer purchases, okay? It seemed like you enjoyed it. I'm so glad. It was a fun video for me to film, and also I did watch it back because those stories are like nice for me to remember. And in the comments of the video, someone suggested doing a follow-up or like a part 2 where it was either like affordable things or specifically kitchen stories behind my kitchenware. And you know what? I realized in that moment that I truly do have stories behind almost everything that I own. I hope that this is interesting for you. I'm excited to tell you the stories. Some of them are quite funny also. I don't think any of these have to do with me being drunk, so clear my name there a little bit. But without further ado, these are the stories behind my kitchen appliances and utensils. Again, I think just in keeping with the last video, I'll go in chronological order of when I received all of these items. So first up is this brave little toaster. Okay, this is my Oster toaster. I believe that's what it is. Oh, the brand's on the other side. This is my Oster toaster. I got this toaster when I was 19 years old. I had just moved back from Edmonton. I need to take it back even further. Okay. When I was 17 years old, I moved out of my house, my family home, and I moved to Edmonton. I was only there for like 6 weeks, like max. I think I moved in and paid rent like twice or something like that. Then I carried my ass on home, okay? Then I lived back at home for a year while I figured out my next move, got my poop in a scoop, as some may say. So I had moved out once before. However, I had never moved out with just one other person. The people that I moved out with the first time, there was like 5 people living in an apartment, okay, if you can even imagine that. It was a time. So I had decided to move out with one of my best friends at the time, but she had never moved out of her house before, and I had only moved out for about 6 weeks. I'm gonna stop holding this toaster now, but I mean, if you need to screenshot it to look at its magnificence, and I will also bring it back. So the first time I had moved out with a bunch of people, therefore we had a bunch of stuff between us. I had a couch, someone had a TV, I had a desk, someone else had like kitchenware. So when I moved out with this friend of mine in my hometown, we quickly realized how few items we had. I think that our kitchen actually had a coffee maker. Don't know whose coffee maker it was. Could have been mine, but I don't know where I would have gotten it. And soup cans. Like, we had nothing in the apartment other than like our bedroom furniture, and I believe that my mom had given me a couch as well. But kitchen-wise, we had nothing. So one day, my dad had come over to my apartment. At the time, him and I were in college together, which is a whole other story. My dad and I went to college together. I did not get a degree, but it was a great time, great memories. They called us the daddy-daughter duo. We took a psychology course, sociology, and something else together. Anyway, great times. So my dad one day had come over to my apartment after college, and he was like, good God, like, what are you doing in here? You have nothing. And I was like, Dad, I know, I'm a broke college student living on my own. And so the next time that he came over, he had brought me this toaster and one of those less expensive pot and pan sets from like Walmart. So I think he just went to Walmart and like got me the essentials basically. That actually might be where the coffee maker came from as well. But I thought we had it before. Anyway, in that little gift basket, what do they call it when you're like away at college? Ugh, everything always escapes me. Anyway, in that little, entourage of things was this brave little toaster. Now, I've since moved on from the pots and pans that he graciously gifted me. They were great for the time, for sure. It was great that we had pots and pans, a pot to warm up soup with, and a pan perhaps to cook eggs. But in my travels, I've never found myself needing a new toaster. I am someone who enjoys to treat myself, but I usually do so in the form of experiences. So going to the movies, going to shows, traveling, dinners out, stuff like that, and sometimes clothes, okay? But more often, it's experiences. So I don't really replace things unless they really need to be replaced, except for bedding. God, I love bedding. I love to buy some bedding. So anyway, this is my toaster that I've had since I was 19. So it's almost 10 years old. It works great. I did try to shine her up for you. However, I had run out of stainless steel polish, and she's also 10 years old. So what do you expect from her? She has a little lever, okay? A little dial, which I'm not gonna mess with because I have it perfect for my toast. You know, this thing, I don't know what it is. This thing, I don't know what it is. And this thing, I don't know what it is. So yeah, that's my little toaster and the story behind her. Thanks, Dad. It was a great gift. I'm still using it 10 years on. Anyway, I'm sure that this toaster was like $30 or something. If I can find the items that I'm speaking about in this, I was gonna say episode, like I was filming a podcast. If I can find the items that I'm speaking about in this video, I will list them in the description. But some of these are so old, like I don't even know if I could find them anymore. The next kitchen item that I still own that has a story behind it is this cutlery. Do you guys remember when like gold everything was in style? It went like gold and then rose gold, and now I don't know what it is because I've lost track of the trends. But back then, gold everything was in, and I had started watching these two YouTubers, very young. It was Watch Us Live in Stuff. It was Kettle and Anthony Padilla. I haven't kept up with them, so I don't know if, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyway, back then, I used to watch their channel, Watch Us Live in Stuff. And then, unfortunately, they broke up, blah, blah, blah. And I kept watching Kettle. And Kelle's aesthetic was so pleasing to me. I loved it. She was so organized. She had like the brightest, cleanest apartment, and she also had gold cutlery. And I was just like a fangirl of her vibes, more so, like her whole apartment situation. But I obviously didn't have the kind of money when I was that age. I think I was like 21 or something like that, to be purchasing a lot of the stuff that she had, like the sofas and, do you know what I mean? Like the big furniture. So I think I had set my sights on something that was a little bit more attainable for me, that could make me feel still like bougie and fun. And gold cutlery was one of them, but I still didn't have enough money to be spending on gold cutlery. It's not real gold, you know what I mean? It's just the color of yellow gold. So for Christmas, the year when I think it was 22 or 23, my mom got me a set of gold cutlery, and I was beyond excited. This is one of the best Christmas presents that I had received, and I was so excited to use it. I was so excited just in general that my mom even knew that I wanted this gold cutlery. It was so exciting. The knives have a like silver or chrome or whatever blade, and then the bottom is gold, and then the rest of the cutlery is gold all the way through. However, because it's so old now, and I do wash everything in the dishwasher that I can, the backs of a lot of them are, you know, wearing off, and they have watermarks and maybe even rust kind of. Oh God, I don't know. The back of this fork is completely not gold anymore, but I've been using these since I got them. So I guess, I don't know, 5 years I've been using these guys, and I just never felt like I wanted to purchase a new set. I don't need to change cutlery. I loved these when I got them. Are they in style anymore? Probably not, but I don't care because they bring me joy. They spark joy. It's not violence, okay? It's a butter knife. The only thing with this cutlery is that when I was cleaning out my dad's house, because my dad passed a few years back, and I was packing up his house, and I felt the need to keep a couple of his utensils. It was something that I just needed. I kept a lot of his stuff because I am very sentimental and like emotional in that way, and so I kept a lot of things, but for some reason I wanted to keep like 2 forks, 2 knives, 2 spoons, yada yada. So mixed in with my gold cutlery is also 2 pieces from my dad's cutlery set, and he had 2 sets of cutlery. So my brother got most of it, and then I just kept back 2 of each. So intermingled in my cutlery drawer are those items as well. It drives my boyfriend crazy because He likes everything to match. And he's like, why do we have different cutlery? Like, why can't everything be the same? And I'm like, because those are special dad cutlery. And to his credit, I'm going to put these down. To his credit, as soon as I say they were my dad's, he relents, he drops it, whatever. Because it is, you know, it's important to me and it's a valid thing in our relationship, I guess. But it's just so funny because I totally understand and I would love to have everything match as well. But unfortunately, my brain will not let me get rid of neither the mom gold cutlery nor my dad's 2 pieces of cutlery. So now we just have intermingled cutlery. But honestly, after looking at these to put them in the video, I think that they're going to need to be retired at some point soon. I'm not ready quite yet, but near future. Oh God, I can't even say near future, distant future. Anyway, that's the gold cutlery. Oh my God, I went out of order. This was first. So sorry. This is my NutriBullet made by Magic Bullet. And she's looking a little rough as well. She's about 6 years old. Her plastic has seen better days, but I just love her. I have always loved television. Cable is my bae. Like, I cannot tell you how much television I watched when I was a kid. I was also very active, but one of the main things that my dad and I would do together is watch TV. And I would stay up watching TV as well. But back in the day, okay, we didn't have streaming services, as I'm sure many of you know, because a lot of you are the same age as me or, you know, a little bit older. So we just had cable. We had what was on the TV at the time. Oftentimes, when the clock struck 12, there was nothing really to watch other than infomercials. I bet you were like, how are you relating a blender to TV? I did it. I got there. So I was a super fan of infomercials and I would watch them like as if they were friends. Okay, like I was obsessed with them. I would wait for the ones that I knew I loved to like come on, but you never knew because it only said paid programming. You didn't get to know what the paid programming was. So I would flip through all of the paid programmings to find my favorite ones. It didn't matter to me if I had seen it before. I was just like, I want to watch an infomercial. So my favorite infomercials were definitely the Auric XL Purifier, the Auric Vacuum, and the Magic Bullet. Now the Magic Bullet was far and above my favorite infomercial. I was so excited to watch it. I wanted a Magic Bullet so bad. Every time they did the 1, 2, press, and all the food that they would make with it. Oh, the New Wave oven was another one I'm just remembering. Gosh, I love the New Wave oven infomercial too. I've never used those products, but oh no, I do have an Auric XL Purifier. Anyway, I wanted a Magic Bullet so bad, and obviously I didn't have a credit card. I wasn't gonna ask my mom, you know, can you buy me a Magic Bullet blender as I'm like 11 years old? So I waited until I got a job. And I did get a job when I was 12 years old, so it was like, it wasn't that long that I had to wait. And I purchased myself the original Magic Bullet. And I loved it. It didn't do everything that the infomercial said, or it didn't perform the same way as it performed on the TV, but it was still really cool. And I had that Magic Bullet for a really long time, and then I think my brother broke it or something like that. Not to like shade my brother, but I'm actually remembering that that's what happened. And I just never bought another one because they were like $100. Back then, minimum wage was like $7 an hour, so it took me a while to save up for that Magic Bullet. And it wasn't until I moved to Toronto and I started getting like really into like nutrition videos on YouTube. And I was seeing all these people like blending up smoothies and blending up sauces and stuff like that. And I was like, I need a NutriBullet. So one day before work, I think all of this happened in like the span of 2 days where I was like, yes, I need a NutriBullet. I'm going to go get a NutriBullet. Like I never wait for stuff. If I get like a bee in my bonnet, I'm like, I need it this moment. So it was right before work. I decided to walk to Canadian Tire downtown Toronto. It was like a 30-minute walk for me to walk to the Canadian Tire, pick up the NutriBullet, which I think was like $160 or like $200 or something like that. And keep in mind, like, that's a pretty penny, especially when you're paying for an apartment downtown Toronto. Like, I can't believe I just on a whim did that, especially back then, okay? I can't even describe to you. I was living day to day, okay? So I walked my butt to Canadian Tire, picked up my NutriBullet, and didn't really think about the fact that I had to go to work immediately after picking up this NutriBullet. And the box for this thing is massive, okay? It comes with this blender top, a smaller blender top, like cups. It comes with different rings, different tops, because they have different like blender bottoms. So the box was pretty big and it was actually pretty heavy. So I had to walk half an hour to work carrying a box like this. And it was in the summer, I think it was July. And in July in Toronto, it's like 30, 40 degrees Celsius sometimes. And that year, they actually had to set up, the city, I'm pretty sure, set up mister zones for people who were walking to work so that you could go in, cool down, and then come back out so that you didn't like pass out on your way to work. It was so hot, you guys. So I ended up having to carry this magic bullet all the way to work, which, okay, it doesn't sound like that much, but I remember it so vividly because I was like struggling so hard, like crossing the streets trying to like rearrange the box so I could continue walking. Anyway, and then I had to stash it somewhere at work until I finished my like 10-hour closing shift and then walk it home. But I actually didn't end up walking it home. I did take a cab because I got off work so late. So anyway, could I have taken a cab to work? Yes. But again, I was living day to day back then. I wasn't spending money on cabs that I didn't have, okay? That's the story behind my NutriBullet. I still love it. I use it to make my smoothie every morning, every day. I think it's great. The only thing is sometimes the bottom part, like the actual blender part, comes a little bit loose when you're using it. And so the inside of your blender gets so gross, like this part that's extremely hard to clean. You basically have to clean it immediately or else it's stuck on there forever. That's the only thing that I'll say that I don't like about this. But other than that, I think it's great. And it's way cheaper than like what are those things called? They're like super expensive blenders. I really, really wanted one. Vitamix. Way cheaper than a Vitamix. And honestly, I've done everything in this little blender that a Vitamix has done. I feel like if it's only for personal use, this is fine, you know? I'm not shading Vitamix. I would love to have one, but I think they're like $1,000. I'm not there in my life. I won't go too in depth about this one, but I had to put it in here because, good God, this kettle was so annoying when I first bought it. So I bought this kettle about 5 years ago. It was the second time I moved to Toronto, and I was trying to set up my apartment with my then boyfriend, so my ex-boyfriend, and we were having such a hard time coming to a decision on literally everything. Like, I can't even describe to you how hard it was for us to set up that apartment. It was like we would bicker over the kettle, bicker over the plates and stuff like that. Him and I are still, you know, on great terms. It's not like I'm saying he's the worst, but I just can't even believe how we could like come up with so many different things to say about a kettle. This kettle was the one that I finally managed to settle on, and it has lights on the bottom, which is really cool. They look nice. It has this temperature thing here so that you can boil water for tea and have it be right, boil it for coffee, have it be right, that sort of thing, which is super nice, honestly, because you can like burn tea leaves or something. I don't know. There's like an optimal way to drink certain beverages. It also comes apart like this, so it's like hands-free. The cord base stays here, and you can like lift it up, pour your stuff. This kettle's stupid. This is like the Louis Vuitton of kettles. Do you know what I mean? When I was saying like the Louis Vuitton stupid. Let me throw this part away. Watch me try to open this. Oh, we got it. You have to like smash this top button to get the kettle to open. It is so frustrating when you have not had your morning coffee yet. You haven't had any food. You're literally just waking up, like you're doing like the one eye thing, you know, not because you're drunk, but because you're so tired you can't like focus on something. Trying to open this thing and fill it with water. You would think that by now I would just fill it with water at night, but regardless, why did you not make a pop top that opens when you press it? It's so frustrating. The other thing that I hated about this kettle that since has been removed, thank goodness, was every time you pressed the on button and every time it finished boiling, it would beep. This would be fine if you and your partner work at the same hours. However, sometimes someone gets home at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. from work, and the other partner perhaps goes to work at 6 a.m., okay, when the other person has just fallen asleep, and now this kettle is going beep, 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 beep. This kettle like made my like it was like nails on a chalkboard hearing it when it went off. So one time I finally said, I can't handle this kettle anymore. It's gotta go. And my ex-boyfriend removed the sound from the kettle. Like he actually took the kettle apart and removed the beeper from it. And thankfully since then, the beep has, never come back because he removed whatever part it was. God, I can't believe that I dealt with it for so long. No, like now knowing that I could have just taken it out. Well, I couldn't have, but he could have. Anyway, the pop top is still super annoying, but the beep is gone, which is great. Other than that, I think it's a great kettle. It's from Canadian Tire. It was, I think, a little bit expensive. Like you can get kettles super cheap, but this one's like one of those, fancy temperature ones or whatever. So other than that, it's great. It's just this stupid pop top. I just felt like this needed an honorable mention. Okay, this is my Instant Pot. Oh. Huh. It's like brand new now. How did I not know that the protective coating had never come off of this? I swear I use this constantly. This is really heavy to hold. This is like a workout a little bit. This Instant Pot was gifted to me by my best friend Samantha. And some of you may know, but I've lived with Sam for about 3.5 years, maybe almost 4 years now. I can't remember. But when I first moved into her house, I lived in a mother-in-law suite, I believe it's called. So it didn't have a kitchen. It did have a shower and a bathroom, but it had like a little wet area, like a sink and a mini fridge. And I didn't have like a whole lot of space to cook or anything like that, but it was just like a temporary thing. I moved to Vancouver. I lived there and it was great. I mean, the price was great, but a time came where I felt that it would be beneficial if I could move into the suite in the house that she had. So I ended up doing that. I moved down into the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom suite that most of you probably remember me from because I lived down there when I started filming for YouTube. And this was her housewarming present to me, even though the house that she was warming me into was her own house, just a different part of her house. And she got me this Instant Pot, and I just thought it was such like a thoughtful thing to do. I didn't expect, obviously, for her to gift me anything, and just thoughtful for her to get me a kitchen appliance specifically because I was so excited to be able to start cooking again and using a stove and an oven, and do you know what I mean? And so having this Instant Pot has been super cool. I make soups in it, I make stews in it. I've made a roast in this before and it was unreal. I've made beef dip using this. The Instant Pot, honestly, great investment. I think that people who don't like their Instant Pots, this is just my opinion, but I think that the people that don't like their Instant Pots they don't understand how to get the most out of it, because definitely I could see it being a little bit intimidating trying to use it for cooking meats in that way, like a roast or, making beef dip out of roast or whatever, and only using it for things like rice or maybe soup. But if you really look online, there's so many Instant Pot recipes. If you Google the meal that you want to make and then put Instant Pot at the end of it, you'll find a recipe for it. It's so cool. And it just you can set it and leave it. It's kind of like a crock pot, but pressure cooker. And funny story, the first time that I tried to use this, I didn't understand the sealing part of it. Because it's a pressure cooker, you have to release the pressure before it allows you to take off the lid. The lid is stuck on there. You cannot get it off. And I didn't know that. And I was trying to reef on the lid, trying to get it open without releasing the air, without releasing the steam, sorry. Thank goodness I wasn't able to get it off, because from my understanding, if you release a pressure cooker like that, you're in danger. You know what I mean? That top will come flying off and steam burn central. So thankfully I didn't do that. Always make sure to vent your Instant Pot before you remove the lid. I don't know if you could physically open it anyway because it's on there the Thor hammer or whatever. But anyway, I love my Instant Pot and I just think it deserves an honorable mention because it was my first ever housewarming gift that I've ever received, honestly. And I thought that was really nice. Okay, last but not least, these are my dishes. The reason that I have these dishes is because I hadn't purchased new dishes in 6 years, okay? And a lot of people have dishes for a very long time. I think growing up, we had the same set of dishes my whole life. They were these blue, like matte circular dishes. I can picture them in my head. I'm sure we still have them, honestly, at my mom's house, but at least like 15 years we had those dishes. My dishes just didn't last as long, and I'll show you the dishes that I had before. I believe that the bowls are the only remaining survivors from that set, but as you can see, they are of a square variety. Now, in the bowl is fine. Great. The plates, however, had terrible demises, okay? The plates were so big because they were square, they didn't properly fit in the dishwasher, so you had to like lean them so far over, and oftentimes you would nick the sides of the plates with other things, you know, like other cups or other plates or bowls or whatever, and eventually a lot of them ended up getting chipped, and it sucked, but I was like, whatever, I'll just continue using these plates because like, so what, the corner's chipped, like I don't eat off the corner. But then I started dating my boyfriend, Danny, and he came over to my house, he stayed with me for a little bit, and he was just like, why are your plates all chipped? And I was like, oh yeah. That does look some type of way. I don't know. Not everybody wants to eat off of like massively chipped dishes. That's fair. And I was a little bit embarrassed. I don't think he was meaning it in any type of way, but he was like, why do you have chips in all of your dishes? So I went out and I bought new dishes to impress my boyfriend. And I picked up these ones from Crate & Barrel. Now they were quite a bit more expensive, if I recall. I think those ones were from Crate & Barrel as well, but these came out to be, God, I don't even know. I think it was like $300 or something for the whole set. I can't believe that I did that. But you know me, once I get a bee in my bonnet, it's like, oh, I'll do that. So my boyfriend was living in a different city as me at the time, and he would come and go. He would come, stay for a couple weeks, and then go back home, come back, go back home, yada, yada. So I had purchased these plates while he was at home. Then he comes back the next time and lifts up my plates and is like, I hate these plates. And I'm like, why? I didn't tell him that I had specifically bought new plates so that he didn't have to use the chipped ones. So he didn't know that it had anything to do with him at all. But interestingly enough, which is very similar to me, the backs of these are different. So the bowls have a glossy finish. However, the dinner plates and the side plates have this unfinished ceramic texture, I want to say. Kind of feels like, I don't know, like it would be like a nails on the chalkboard sort of thing. Kind of does feel like a chalkboard, actually. And the bottoms of these plates, they are not good for my boyfriend. Like, he does not like the feeling of them. It kind of like makes him cringe sort of thing, which I totally understand. I have the same thing with towels and velvet and cotton, Q-tips, paper sticks, like popsicle sticks that aren't plastic. I have that in a big way, so I do definitely understand, but it was just so funny because I had purchased these plates to like impress him. They were expensive, blah, blah, and then he comes in and he's like, I hate these. So anyway, thankfully we've been together long enough where now I just say tough. These are my plates and hold them by the edge. Anyway, you guys, that is the story behind my kitchen utensils and appliances. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sure that I have more in there that I could come up with stories for, but when I was reading that comment, immediately what I thought of was these specific items. Let me know if you want to hear the stories behind anything else that I have. Like, I don't even know what else it would be though. I could do a whole video just on mugs. Honestly, that is today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me as always. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Hit the like button if you feel like it, and definitely leave a comment because I love hanging out with you guys in the comments. And other than that, I will see you in next week's video.